be just us kids today, and that's all right. So, that always turns out good and maybe even better. So fine.
Right.
Yeah. We didn't get Jeff Bezos to show up. I'm surprised, what happened.
I know, right?
Yeah. But here we are. And I did listen. That was actually really cool. I like the fact that you sent the audio recording, because I think, a lot of folks are so busy and, they might read 6 or 9 of the books of the 12 books during the year. And then, just figuring out which of them they want to read, just listening to the review kind of helps them narrow it down. So, is this really worth my time? Do I want to dive in and spend more time on this or not or whatever? So that's cool. Yeah. Anyway, fun.
Cool.
Good idea.
Well, my name is Wiki Gaminal. I'm with ASVAB Domination by Gaminal Tutors. You can find me on asvabdomination.com. Joining me today is Paula Williams. Go ahead.
I'm Paula Williams with ABCI, and I help aviation companies sell more of their products and services.
Okay, cool. And today we're discussing the Bezos Letters, right there. And so I guess this book it's a compilation of the letters that he sent to his not shareholders. So it's actually share owners,
right?
Which I think was a kind of an important distinction, kind of putting the point of, the people who purchase Amazon are not just holding it, right? Because if you're holding something, the idea is that eventually you let it go. And ideally you let it go to turn profit or something like that. So I think that even that minor distinction between holders and owners is a really good statement and testament to kind of what he values as a business owner.
Right. I actually love that because I think a lot of what's wrong with the world today, is because of kind of short-term thinking. And, people buy stocks and they hold them for a week or whatever, and then they sell them, they try to buy them low and sell them high. And day trading and, all of that has kind of become, I think it's kind of ruined a lot of companies, because they get money for no good reason, just because the market is volatile. And then they don't invest it well, and people aren't invested. Share owners is like an active thing, where shareholders is a passive thing. So, he wants people who invest in Amazon to really get involved and tell them what they think, and, hold it for a long time and invest in the company in the old sense of, like Simon Sinek's idea of the infinite game, as opposed to the short term,
right?
Let's turn a profit this quarter game, So I think that's great.
I think what's interesting about it too is the conception about Amazon is that it's all about expediency and quick refunds and, sometimes cheap goods,
Yeah, that's true.
But the systems and a lot of the stuff that's in the book are really, really deep, really profound, not as materialistic as you would find the company to be. And at least in the synopsis that I listened to, I read the book. I read it about 6 months ago. And so I just did the synopsis to kind of refresh. And all the thing about reading the book is in this format for me was that it's kind of hard to get through the entire book. I don't know if you had the same issue.
Right.
Yeah. But for me, go ahead.
If you're not a shareholder, then this is not written to you. So there's a lot of stuff to wade through, and the synopsis, I think, did a really good job of driving out, here's what you want to know as a business owner, as opposed to as a Amazon shareholder. So, it's kind of a nice repositioning of the material.
For sure. Yeah. So it was interesting. Yeah. One thing that was brought up, and one thing that stood out to me when I read the book as well, is that Bezos, is always celebrated as bootstrapping Amazon. But he did start off with a 6-figure loan, which is not what we consider what normal humans, I think. I mean, I'm not sure who all's listening, but $300,000 is not the kind of loan that we can all just get our hands on for business,
Right.
typically.
I mean, don't you wish you could get a six-figure loan from your parents? I mean,
Well,
but yeah, I mean, that's not reality for a lot of people. And it wasn't a ton of money, in terms of starting a business. It wasn't a ton of money, but in terms of reality for, the average American, it was quite a bit to, it was more than I would say a lot of even our clients have started a business on. A lot of them have started a business from their kitchen table and an idea, and a couple $1,000, I think you have to start with something, but still, it wasn't a ton of money compared to the size that they're at today. So
no, of course not. Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
the amount of money now is an unfathomable amount, really.
yeah,
300,000 is something we can all conceptualize, right? We can see one house, or I guess in the right area, maybe two houses, and be like, that's $300,000.
mm-hmm.
But the value of Amazon is in the trillions, right? So that is just, many, 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 many people have access to $300,000.
Yeah.
Like, not everybody is going to use that access to create that amount of,
like one of the biggest companies in the history of Earth, I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is
it's
a whole order of magnitude of bigness, bigger than anything that was big when I was a kid, so yeah.
For sure. One thing that I always find myself doing, because I hang out in, and we don't really get political on this podcast very often, but
go ahead.
Since it's just us, I don't think that anybody's gonna die on any hills today, so that makes it easy. Like, I don't think we're gonna start start with some harsh rhetoric or anything, but Jeff Bezos and Amazon certainly has created something that did not exist prior to its conception.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I'm always arguing for, which, may make me sound a little more conservative, or maybe a little bit more capitalist, I guess. Yeah. But this is an organization that logistically can create any item that you want on your doorstep in, anywhere from 3 days, majority of items within 24 hours,
right.
And that cannot, I don't think that's even imaginable. If you look at pre-Amazon or even post-Amazon, say Amazon crashes tomorrow, mm-hmm. There's no way for you to get access to every single thing that's on Amazon at the same rate of time that it's built on. So it is such an incredible structure outside of the order of magnitudes of money that it generates, but the process, right? Like the results are also mind-boggling in their own right.
Right. And, you think about small businesses like yours and mine. I use Amazon Web Services to back up all of our websites. And I use Amazon to get our books. I use Amazon to get paper. There's a lot of things that get delivered to the office that, it would be a lot harder for me to run this business without Amazon. So, it's enabled a whole bunch of other businesses that are either created on Amazon's platforms or are Amazon becomes their biggest supplier, or, their only supplier for a lot of things, and so on.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I think, and especially your layman, right? Like somebody who's not
mm-hmm.
running a business, somebody who's working 9 to 5, right? The majority of Americans, you don't want to say rely on Amazon, because the majority of things that you buy off there aren't things that are like urgently needed. It's not like you're going to get gauze because you're bleeding, and you're not going to just like order it on Amazon and it's going to save the day. But it is, something that we've come to depend on, certainly.
Oh yeah. I mean, I know people who had COVID, and they ordered an oxygen meter that sticks on your finger because they didn't want to go out, to the pharmacy and get one. It shows up in 24 hours and it's just, so I
It's,
mean, it almost is,
yeah,
medical supplies and things, I mean, it is almost maybe not gauze if you're bleeding, but pretty close.
for
It is
sure.
really relied on by a lot of people in their personal lives. I mean, all of our Christmas shopping, a ton of our Christmas shopping happened through Amazon as well. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, yeah, same. I did all of my Christmas shop. I mean, technically, I got it from the Dead Sea, right? The sea
Yeah.
salt, but I totally bought that stuff through Amazon. And same with, the scarab beetles. They came from Egypt, but they're
Mhm.
bought off Amazon. So,
That is cool.
um,
That's actually a really nice repurposing. And, but
yeah,
it's amazing how much packaging, paper, anything, if you want to run a business, you need that stuff. Or if you want to do anything, you need that stuff. So,
for sure. Yeah,
yeah.
you need all that stuff to function, definitely. And
Right.
if Amazon was shut down tomorrow, I think everyone would be, patient with businesses as because like that would be a pretty serious, issue.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, that's
no,
for sure.
a lot of good things about Amazon. I think it's easy to talk about the negatives as well. I think those are pretty prevalent online, especially lately with the tornadoes. Did you hear about that?
I did not, but I do know that, if you're a big company, you end up in the barrel all the time over
Mhm.
one thing or another because people have expectations that aren't going to be met, or any little thing you do gets criticized because you got a big target on your head.
For
Uh,
sure.
but what happened with the tornadoes?
Tornadoes, a few people passed away. I mean, people across that area were dying,
Oh,
right? But
yeah.
a few people were passed away at work. They weren't able to go home when the tornado was going on. They were, forced to work, forced to continue to work.
Oh, I heard that about a candle factory. I didn't hear that about Amazon. That's
I mean, I heard it, and again, some
yeah.
of these articles are from the Onion, right? Like the
Oh,
Onion, like
yeah.
roasts, like yeah, if
Mhm.
you were unable to clock out because you died in a tornado or something, like it just like completely goes full
Oh, yeah.
satire,
Yeah.
which is which serves a purpose. But yeah, I think it's easy to see some of these big organizations, particularly Amazon, in a negative light as well.
Right. And, they do have warehouse jobs that are hard jobs, physically demanding, rough jobs. And, are they doing that right or wrong or whatever? I don't know that I can comment on that. I know there are people who are unhappy, because of the working conditions or whatever, but I think that's true of every big company that's ever existed. There are people that think, they should be a model or they could do better or they should do better. And I
Yeah.
guess that's always true.
For sure, for sure. And I think they strive for it. I think one of the best company policies that makes it, or at least, on paper, makes it look like they support their employees is they really value innovation.
Yeah.
And like one of the short blurbs was about Jeff on his hands and knees trying to pack up boxes, trying to put books in boxes. And he
Yeah.
said, "Man, I need some knee pads. This is killing."
Yeah.
And the guy next to him was like, "We need packing tables." And it,
Right.
you
Like,
know,
duh. Let's solve the right problem, shall we?
yeah, exactly. And I think that's great, right? They
Yeah.
try to, and I believe it, because it is effective to support your
Mhm.
employees. It's
Yeah.
efficient, effective. It's moral, it's ethical, but it's also increasing in revenue. It's profitable
Right.
to give your employees methods by which to improve their jobs.
Yeah. I love that part. The fact that, they expect innovation and they expect, that sort of thing from their employees. And, so the packing tables versus knee pads, and it would take somebody who's, not in the middle of it to think of that, and go, well, I need to be able to do this better. Well, no, this is the wrong thing to be doing. We need to be.
Yeah, right. No, it makes you wonder. You think of like Cesar Chavez, right? Like he marched because they have this tool, right, that they
Mhm.
use to harvest, which is inhumane because you have to basically be bent over and it destroys your entire spine.
Yeah.
Um, and so he made it outlawed, right? But it makes you wonder how many people were just doing it because it was the way that they thought it should be done. They never even considered using another tool because all of the places were doing the same thing.
Right. So, is that an ethics thing or is that a innovation thing? It's both really. So,
Right. Well,
yeah.
but you definitely don't want to give yourself moral license to say, oh, if they want, if my employees wanted better lives, they'd be more innovative.
Yeah, that's true.
But
You have to give them well, not only the fiat to be able to innovate, and also I think he would, what was it? It wasn't Amazon, it was somebody else. It was IBM that started this way back in the 80s or sometime. They started giving people um, Fridays, as their innovation days. So you didn't have to perform any work on Fridays as long as at least once a year you submitted an idea of something that you've been working on during your Friday um, at work, and you had access to all the machines, you had access to each other, you had access to conference rooms, whatever you needed. But you had to submit at least one idea a year. And a lot of their really cool products were Friday ideas, that came from people. I don't know if Amazon actually gave people dedicated time to do that. And of course, a lot of people are just going to goof around or whatever, but there is something to be said for that too, for the team building and bonding and whatever and that
right.
kind of thing. So yeah.
The kicking back and imagining, right? Like the time to read,
Yeah.
is something that's constantly undervalued. So
Right.
book
That's
club.
for sure. Yeah. So spend time on the book club.
Yeah, exactly.
Even if you only read the 30-minute summary, that's still a
Yeah.
good thing.
Right. Yeah. No, it's not going to waste your time. You're not going to be worse
Yeah.
for hearing it.
Right. And they talk about the 14 principles. One of my favorites is that they start with the customer and work backwards. So,
Mhm.
they started out selling books and music, and then they said, what else do people need? What else do the people that are buying from us, what else do they need? What else can we sell them? And, I think anybody in any business, if you're like Doug Goldstrom with SSC, he does charter flights for people. And then while they are flying from point A to point B, he will also make arrangements for whatever else they need, get their car detailed, get their dry cleaning done, whatever, so that when they get back, they're ready to go to their next appointment and they're set up. So, what else do these people need is a really good question to ask no matter what business you're in.
That's great. Yeah, that's a really good point. I know that in the synopsis they mention, the customer is always right is inherently a reactive statement.
Yeah.
Because you're waiting for the customer to be right before you can be right for the customer.
Right.
And so that's I think that falls in line with exactly what you're saying. What
Yeah.
else do people need?
Right. Exactly. That is absolutely true. Another thing I really loved was being wrong is less risky than being slow.
Yeah.
Like, wow, that is amazing. You could be totally wrong and still be miles ahead of if you hadn't ever gotten off the starting blocks. And one of our sales coaches says, you can't steer a parked car. And so, a lot of people in our sales classes and things like that want to wait until they have the perfect opportunity and the perfect prospect and the perfect outline and all of their research done. And they never make a phone call because they're waiting for all of those stars to line up. And, it's better to make lousy calls and make 10 of them than to make 0 calls, or make 1 call that you think is perfect, just because the law of averages is going to catch up to you and practice also catches up to you. And if you have good intentions, I think people will forgive a lot of lousiness
Sure.
in the process.
Yeah, no, that's one thing I've been coming to terms with lately, just in my own business, is that I'm not trying to steal from anybody. Like that's something that you almost have to convince, you almost have to say it every single morning,
Yeah.
is I'm not trying to be unethical or immoral in
Yeah.
my business dealings. You have to convince yourself of that. Um, because the truth is you're not, nobody gets into business to try and only make money, right?
Yeah.
Like they want people who pay them to be taken care of.
Yeah.
you they want so if you when you start looking at it from that contribution mindset, it does get a little easier for sure.
Yeah. That's for sure. And let's see. Yeah, a few successes will make up for 1,000 failures. That's kind of a corollary
Yeah.
to and they had it set up so they have their business set up so that if somebody screws up, it is not the end of the world. They can do a low impact failure and do a lot of those to get more successes and get more wins. And last year we created 12 different workshops, in um, Lift Your LMS, thinking, okay, so we're going to have 12 different products to sell. Some of them will do well, some of them will not do well, and we don't know which are which.
Yeah.
We based our research on, what are the topics that people want to know the most about, or, that are our most popular blog posts and so on. So we have an idea that they're all at least popular topics, but they may not want a course on that. They may just want an article or a podcast.
Right.
So
They may just want to click on it. Exactly. They may not. It may
right,
not be something that passes the financial threshold for sure.
right, exactly. So that gave us the opportunity to create even 11 failures. If one of them goes really well, we've made good use of that time.
Definitely.
Yeah.
No, and I mean, Amazon can do it on that scale, right? Like they
Right.
say it through there that a million failures is
Mm-hmm.
no problem
Yeah.
because one right answer,
Mm-hmm.
and that right answer was either starting with books or switching from books to everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Those two right answers more than made up for all the problems, right? Everything that they did wrong. And
Mm-hmm.
so I know that in the synopsis, it talks about the two major failures, one of which being the Fire phone, I think.
Yeah. It was I remember reading about it and thinking, that I wonder if that's going to do well or not, but it was a flaming failure. So the Fire phone, a flaming failure. People had a lot of fun with that
Wow.
it was panned, so, and that's okay. And they freely admitted it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And they learned from that because that was kind of the ancestor of the Alexa dot, or, whatever they call that little thing that sits in your kitchen and you order more stuff from it.
Mm-hmm.
The little cylinder, what is that called? The little thing.
Echo.
Echo. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a dot and then there's the echo. So the dot's
Right.
the little one and the echo's the tall one.
Echo's
But
the
yeah,
taller one. Okay.
yeah. No, I mean, even for me, right? Like I've repurposed content that didn't perform as well,
Right.
even in a different package, right? It can completely be a whole entire different result. So
Right. Like, I think you did a printed workbook, but the
yeah.
process of compiling that was probably, got you a lot of material that was really useful that you could use in different ways.
Exactly. Yeah. I actually just got the reminder on Facebook Memories that I am 1 year ago today. I asked which cover do you like more for my workbook. And
Mm-hmm.
so that was the finishing touches of building the Gaminal Tutors ASVAB Domination workbook,
Mm-hmm.
which was, I would say, a success. I
Okay.
sold two on their own. So that's,
You covered
I
your
sold them.
expenses. That's a success.
Yeah, well, not quite. I think I paid a few more hundreds on it.
Mm.
However, I was able to ship it off to students, and maybe they used it, maybe they didn't. But I was given, I of course I can't leave Sheena out on that one because she was paramount in creating that and designing it and everything like that. But I use the formulas from that workbook in my checklist now.
Oh,
And
nice.
so I just, copied and pasted formulas that were from the workbook into the checklist. And
Yeah.
now I have the workbook available as a PDF when you purchase my course. So it's completely free. It's $100 workbook that I am sold out of. That's now yours free if you buy this course. And so it's added value, even if it doesn't add money right away. It's
Yeah.
always it's going to continue to add value. So it's great.
Right. And another thing I noticed about that is, there's kind of the pre-workbook branding of Gammon All Tutors and the post-workbook branding of Gammon All Tutors. Um, it kind of was a milestone, I guess, in your company because, it looks so much more professional after you guys spent that time. And, I know Sheena did a lot of the work on putting that brand together visually for the workbook. And then you've used those visuals consistently since, which is great. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it'll, those failures really do build your brand, it takes me back to primary greatness. Those, what is it? The mantras, they're not mantras. What does he call them? He doesn't call them mantras.
Oh, principles or what did he call
No, the thing you say to yourself, oh shoot, it's not like objective. It starts with an O, I think. It's a vowel. But basically what you say to yourself is, I am so lucky for this struggle because it gives me blah, 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 blah. And so
right. It wasn't it was the 12 levers of success, but it was the
it's like statements. There's some sort of statement that you tell yourself.
Oh, I know what you mean, but I can't think of the word.
Right.
Anyway, we'll figure it out and add it in to the recording later. So that was a good word, and I don't remember what it is. So now
I think it's affirmations.
That's affirmations. Yes,
you affirm to yourself that and that's what the book did, right? The book isn't something that I'm telling myself over and over again. I'm not even reading it every day.
Yeah.
But I remember the cover, I remember what's in it. I remember the lesson plans, the layout, everything like that. And it serves as an affirmation of this is what my business is designed to do.
Right.
And I think that's one of the biggest struggles that we have as business owners, particularly in an education or coaching sense, is you have to convince people and yourself, you have to convince yourself first and then everybody else after that you're not selling snake oil, right? Yeah. That you have something. And if that's putting it all in a book, or if that's creating a checklist or shooting a bunch of videos, it needs to be, I like the book so much because it's concrete, yes. it is written, and so it's something that I can go back and revisit anytime that I'm, feeling completely stuck. And
that's fun. Such a credibility builder too, to have a book, to be the guy that wrote the book.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it changes the game. So small failures, and in life, right? That's what builds you. When we were going through Taekwondo, getting kicked in the head is what really taught us to block.
Right? If we weren't getting kicked in the head, it was not a good day, because we weren't trying hard enough. We weren't sparring with somebody that was at our level, and you won't get any better sparring with little kids, I guess we do.
Well, you learn what you look like. Like, I don't want to look like that. So that serves a purpose. But no, the failures, the ones that sting, like that's really what it's helpful. It's so helpful.
Oh yeah, and a worthy adversary, I think, is a gift because they make you stay up nights going, what do I need to do to, because I know there's a market for this because this other person is doing well. Therefore, what do I need to do to get to that point? And, so that's another thing I really loved was their 6-page narrative, so when they have a new product or anything like that, they have a story format, so they have a story about a person who interacts with this product or service and what it means to them and how it changes the way they do things or whatever. And, they start with the press release and the FAQ and the user manual. before the product is even built.
Mhm.
And everybody else is doing the opposite. They're building products and then they're saying, okay, let's write a press release and an FAQ and a user manual. But they've never thought about the customer up
Right.
until that point. They just start with an assumption and spend all this time and money based on no data, or no story or no real customer involvement. So, and you can't do a survey, saying, would you like this? Because like they
Yeah.
said, would you like to have a cylinder in your kitchen that asks you if you need more Pringles,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. No, and nobody would,
No, I
right?
don't need that.
Yeah, exactly. Do not sell that on Amazon. We don't need it. And now, of course, it's crucial, right? It's almost something that people rely on as much as Amazon as well.
Right.
One thing that I wanted to ask you, just because I don't know the acronyms as well, I know that AWS is Amazon Warehouse Systems,
Amazon Web Services.
Web Services. Okay.
Right.
And so they are an SaaS platform. Is that
Right.
correct?
Software as a service platform. So
Okay.
you're paying for software as a service. And, a lot of folks have gone to that model. Like you used to just go to the Office Max and buy Microsoft Word in a box on a CD, and you would take it home and you would install it on your computer. And now instead you pay a monthly fee to Microsoft, and then you can use their Microsoft Word and Excel and and it makes them more money. It encourages them to put out more updates and things like that because they don't have to produce it, and they don't have to sell every version separately.
Right. It's
So,
automatic updates and all that.
right. In fact, it's a business model that I really, really recommend for everybody. If they can do, like, Jet Cards is an example of a subscription service.
What is that?
Like, Jet Cards are where you are buying it's like a fractional ownership of an aircraft, but it's not a particular aircraft. So then it's a portion of a charter company. So then you are able to apply that toward trips. Different levels of service let you reserve different sizes of planes or whatever and stuff like that, but they pay a monthly fee instead of, so if it's a company or a person that flies 6 times a year or whatever and stuff like that, they're just paying a monthly fee. They're not paying for each flight.
Gotcha. So it's almost, again, it sounds similar to like NFTs and cryptocurrency, where it's an abstract service that you're buying. It's something you're not buying something that you're not buying the box of Microsoft Word. You're buying Office Suite.
Yeah. So you're paying a retainer or a subscription or something like that for something that is intangible, but that gives you the benefits of whatever it is that you're buying. And that used to be super suspicious. I mean, like, you talk to, like, my parents or her parents or anybody like that, they'd probably think that was just the craziest thing, because you're not actually getting anything for your money. You're depending on the fact that company is going to be in business. You're not actually getting anything that you can take home in a box. Yeah.
Right. Or like a gift card or something, something that you can point to on the wall.
Right. Exactly. And you can give people something when they get a Jet card, you probably should send them something really nice, a tangible symbol of some kind, showing that you're part of this elite group or whatever, and you have these privileges and everything. But you're right. It is kind of intangible, an NFT sort of a transaction as well. Yeah.
Wow. Crazy. Wild world.
But I love that model because it lets people become fractional owners of your company, almost like shareholders, except that they're just customers. And then they can use your services when and as they need to. But it also supports your company in a longer term. You don't have to sell every single product every single day, so that's
good.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of companies that can use that. And, it's just a question of going back to the what else do my customers need? And what can I sell them as a subscription that they're going to feel good about and that's going to give them value?
Nice. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you're not hunting every day,
For sure.
You can spend more time taking care of your people and less time hunting for new people.
Yeah. No, and I think everybody wants that. I mean, that's the point. That's what marketing's for.
Right. And they've done such a good job of it because nobody ever buys just once from Amazon.
Oh, no. No, you can't.
No.
Yeah, you get hooked. I mean, the other day I bought, I didn't use Amazon, but I did do the, like one of those Instacart type things just to try it, and get the groceries dropped off.
Yeah.
And I think I could do that just once. I think I might be okay going to the store for the rest of my life, but I'm happy I tried it, and
how did it work?
It worked great. It worked great. I mean, they were out of the oranges that I bought, but they found a replacement for the oranges, and they didn't have the flowers that I bought, but so they didn't replace the flowers, but they didn't charge me for the flowers either. And so, theoretically, if I would have gone to the store on my own, I wouldn't have bought those either. So,
if they're not there, they're not there for them or for you. So,
exactly. Yeah, no. It reminds me of, oh shoot, we read a book about basically the time saved feels like such a better investment than
the 4-hour work week. That was Tim Ferriss, right?
Yeah. Tim Ferriss.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Get somebody to mow your lawn.
Yeah. It's so much cheaper to get someone to mow your lawn. Exactly. Because you can use your time doing other things. And, even if it's time recovering so that you can do other things, that's still probably more lucrative than you spending that time potentially mowing your lawn.
Right. Exactly. No, that's cool. And that's great. One of the things that I kind of like is that they've done a subscription within a subscription. Like, you have an Amazon Prime subscription, and then when you buy razor blades, it will give you this thing saying, would you like to buy these razor blades every month and save 5%, and you're going, okay. And, so it's like subscriptions within subscriptions. So they've like taken it to the next level of embedding these kinds of ways of getting more of your money, and also, providing that service, getting deeper embedded into your life. And at Wells Fargo, we used to say, the goal was to get 7 financial products in everybody's wallet. We want to have 7 connections to every customer. So if they have a student loan, we also want them to have a home loan. We also want them to have a credit card and a debit card and a savings account. So, and if they have 7, that was only 5, but if they had 7 products, they would never leave us, because it was such a huge pain in the neck to do that. So then they were resilient to any kind of a customer service problem or anything else. They would probably ride it out with us instead of going off to seek a different financial institution for all of those things, because we were so embedded into their life. And I think, that's the kind of relationship we want with our customers, right? Is to make it worth it to them, even when something doesn't go perfectly, to stick around because they're getting so many other benefits from us. Exactly. But, that's the optimistic way of looking at it. And, the pessimistic way of looking at it is they've got their tentacles everywhere,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. They've become the Borg.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, nobody can switch out of iPhone, right? We're all stuck buying new iPhones every year because they start to break down. And if you have a broken iPhone, the only thing worse than a broken iPhone is an Android,
Right. We're not getting political at all. That's cool.
We're getting, oh, shoot.
Android users, we apologize, but
no.
Where have you been?
Well, and Google, Google has its contribution, but it's hard to break free. You get dependent on these brands or these systems. Really, is what it is. It's just part of the first thing you do every day.
Yeah. But you want to be on the other end of that. It's like the whole thing about systems is you are either operated on by them or you can operate them. So, if you think about systems, step back from the systems that are operating on your life and go, wow, how can I make that work for me instead of against me?
Mm-hmm.
And how can I be the one who's creating the systems instead of being the one that's being um, acted upon by these systems,
Mm-hmm. For sure.
And that's
Yeah.
really where we want to go with this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we're not here to be zombies. If you're listening to this podcast or anything like that, you're someone who wants to do more with your time than scroll.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that I think that's a crucial juncture, is
Mm-hmm.
the point where you stop scrolling and, take your head out of your phone and,
Mm-hmm.
look around at like everybody else's heads in their phones and figure out
Right.
what
And
they're
say,
looking at.
what can I do to affect this? What can I do with this information? Because otherwise you're just consuming, but yeah. So stop listening to this podcast right now and write down 3 ways that you're going to Amazonify your business, whatever it is.
Yeah. No, and the cool thing about the book is there's a million different ways that you can. I mean,
Yeah.
Amazon, it said 2005. I mean, they were waiting for the world. He called it the worldwide wait.
Oh
So
yeah.
he was probably in 97 or something like that.
Yeah. They were, they had no idea. Nobody had any idea that the internet was going to turn into what it did. But I think there were a few scientists, in universities saying, this is going to change the world. And everybody's going, wow, what a nerd.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, the synopsis said it really well. They said, internet usage was growing 2,500%
yeah.
every year over year.
Yeah.
And so that was the statistic that he latched onto and then decided, what can I sell on there? And
Right.
then turned around and said, okay, books are what I can sell on there because it's the widest variety, of something,
Yeah.
um, rather than jeans, because jeans
Right.
only have like 7 different types and then a million different sizes. But if you sell books, there are, 10 genres or 12 classically recognized, whatever, there's a bunch of genres, and then you have lots of authors, and books are nearly infinite at this point, I would imagine. So
Yeah. I don't know if you're old enough to remember the Borders. It was a store called Borders. Okay, yeah. And it was like the biggest bookstore, and it was books and music, and it would cover like, they would buy half a mall, and just have books and music and everything else. And it was an unsustainable business model because it required so much real estate. And,
yeah.
But that was the direction that bookstores had been going since then. There was the Barnes and Noble, and then the Borders, and they just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And now, because of Amazon, they're getting smaller and smaller. And you've got the King's English and the little independent bookstores, and here we've got Ken Sanders, the independent booksellers, and that do the story hours and local authors and things like that. So it's kind of an interesting phenomenon, what they've done to the market.
For sure. But it's to the market's benefit. I think more people have more access to more books, and like, as much as you may hate, the whatever they're doing in business, or, as much as you may want to bash on, all those people who worked for Barnes and Noble are now unemployed, whatever that may be, the vast majority of public has more access to resources.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah.
I don't think you can call that a bad thing, at the end of the day. Knowledge is infinite, so
right. It is I think capitalism wins as long as there's no corruption involved, and that's a political statement, but it is. I think that's absolutely true. As long as everybody is playing honestly, capitalism always wins, because people pay for what they value. And, they value that convenience, and they value information, and they value being able to get a used book from God knows where, delivered in their mailbox, and, little vials that they can put sand in that, it just has enriched so many people's lives in so many different ways that, people have the ability to use their imagination to in their business because they have the supplies and the resources of Amazon now. They didn't before. So anyway.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've bought whiteboards off of Amazon. I've got, three, what are these? Three of these thingies, right? And like
Ring lights, yeah.
They're all from Amazon. And even like today I went to go get a haircut and they had a million of those same things, and where that came from, like,
right?
Unless they're going to some store, it's like, industrial supply or something like that to get a special deal. At 1 and 2 of them has to be from Amazon,
Right.
So it's a wild thing. Let me ask you a question about Amazon real quick.
Okay.
So I've been listening to a lot of different podcasts. One of them is called Side Hustle School. I got featured on Side Hustle School.
Yes.
So shout out
Congratulations, by the way.
Side Hustle
Very cool.
team. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a big one. And I did get featured in another podcast recently, but I'm focused on Side Hustle School for now. So in that podcast, he always, maybe once every 2-3 months, he always says that you should create an Amazon affiliate link. You should get your own Amazon affiliate link. Have you done that?
There was a time that I did. And that was just because, we were starting our book club. And I thought, we should allow other people to buy the books on our book list and have them all in one place and things. I have not kept up with that. So I probably still do have an Amazon affiliate account. But, we made, a few pennies every time somebody made a purchase from that list. And, it wasn't worth the time for me, but I wasn't probably doing it right. And I probably wasn't spending enough time promoting that Amazon link as I should have.
Cool.
Yeah.
No, he makes a really good point that you can, you'll be surprised by the royalty checks when they start rolling in, because you can, when you're starting out, you just use it for yourself. So for you, right, like you're buying, anywhere from, you're probably buying 20 books every month, right? Yeah. Something like that.
At least 20 books. Yeah. Right.
So we're talking, what is that?
That's a ton of money.
It's a lot. Well, it's a lot of books, but yeah, it's a ton of money.
Some months that's $20 a book, so that's, you can do the math faster than I can, but anyway, that is enough money to be worth it. I mean, we're spending at least $600 or $700 a month on book club stuff.
Well, and then also Amazon stuff on top of that, right? Yeah. So then there's all your, random stuff that you buy, t-shirts or whatever, dog clothing,
right?
You can still use your affiliate link for all of those items. So you don't have to be targeted on a specific item.
I did not know that.
Yeah. You can just use your own affiliate link. So I got started. I just wanted to see how far you got in the process. I was able to build it, but then it got deactivated. And so I have to reapply and everything like that because I never synced it up right where I was buying things through my affiliate link.
Wow. Okay. Well, I need to figure that out too. So yeah, let's figure that out together. I think that might be worth it now. And especially now that I know I can use it myself.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Good idea.
Yeah, because he's like, you automatically will start, making a couple pennies that you wouldn't have otherwise made. Mm-hmm. So it's a really good pro tip. And once again, a way that Amazon is bringing resources to people who never would have imagined them in the past. It's great.
Smart.
Cool. Well, I think I'm good. Do you have anything you want to say about the book? Anything else to share?
Read it. I think it's definitely, I can't think of anybody who wouldn't benefit from reading this book. There's some that I don't say that about. And this is one that I think anybody with a business would definitely benefit from spending the time. It's definitely worth 30 minutes for the summary. And then you may want to dive in, depending on whether it kicks your creativity into into gear or not. But yeah, definitely worth it.
I agree. I like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, so much that you can be used from it. So that's great.
Right.
Cool. Well, we'll pitch out. My name is Mickey Gaminol, asvabdomination.com, owner of Gaminol Tutors. So if you need any help with the ASVAB, go ahead and look me up.
Right. Or if you know anybody who is going into the military, make sure they talk to Mickey first before they do anything crazy.
You bet. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Paula Williams with AVCI. We help aviation companies sell more of their products and services. Awesome.
All right.
Yeah.
Good job.
Well, have a great week, and thanks for joining us.
Yeah, have a great week. Take care. Bye-bye.
Ta-da! Cool. Thank you. Well, we went most of an hour without even breathing. That was pretty good.